Yo guys, Vision SGN here bringing you Marvel Rivals Top 3 series yet again, with both aerial and flying heroes being the theme of this video, where we'll be breaking down each of the top 3 aerial or flying heroes in the game, whilst also addressing both the purpose of this series, as I do think it's important that players understand there's more than just 3 basic categories and playstyles for each of the heroes in this game, and not just the basic Vanguard duelists and strategists. So on that note, let's get right into it. Now, as for the top 3 hero series, as usual, just before I explain this list and begin ranking my top 3 flyers, I just wanted to further address what I meant about subcategories of heroes and why I think this series will be great at both providing more detail for each of the heroes in this video, but also what category they fall into and what subcategories they are best fit for. And what I mean by that, for example, if I was to ask you guys, or you asked me, who are the best 3 duelists in the game right now? And my answer would change day to day. It depends on the map, the mode. Are we talking about the best dive heroes, flying heroes, ranged heroes? Just there's so many different styles and play styles in this game, which all of these heroes fall into separate subcategories for the most part. And for this video, we're going to be talking about the best flying or aerial heroes, characters who have permanent flight or can access flight for a limited time, such as like the likes of Star-Lord. So for this list, we're going to be going through heroes with flight abilities that stand out due to their mobility and ability to dominate from above, being able to snipe or pick off strategists and squishy duelists in particular, whilst also disrupting the pace of a game through both precision and their mobility. And just to note, the term flyers, like I said, refers to characters who utilize sustained or significant aerial movement in their playstyle and their abilities, either through passive flight or their abilities such as Star-Lord, as I've mentioned, which grants them free flight to control this ability. And also, this list considers flight duration, so their combat effectiveness whilst they're airborne, and also the current game balance, as in the latest Season 1.5 meta. So coming in at number 3 is Star-Lord himself, who is a duelist in this game, and his jet boots give him the temporary flight ability, especially during his ultimate, where he zooms around, unloading a crazy amount of damage. Now, his aerial dashes and rapid fire pistols make him a very evasive hero, whilst also being able to deal a crazy amount of damage. However, his flight isn't consistent, as I've mentioned, in comparison to the likes of maybe Storm or Iron Man, so he's arguably not a flyer as such, but he's a skilled player for sure, and anyone that can play this character at the highest level is pretty much unstoppable, and being able to both leverage his mobility and being able to disrupt enemy backlines makes him definitely top 3 worthy for this list. Now, I will add that he's also used at the highest ranks of competitive quite often, especially at the pro level right now, and with the Rebirth team up ability with the likes of Warlock and Mantis, he's even better. So if you have him in that setup, he becomes one of the best duelists in the game, if not number 1 currently, following the latest Season 1.5 update and the current meta. So coming in at number 2 is Iron Man himself, which is quite controversial considering the latest nerfs where he's become slightly less effective. However, his passive flight and hypervelocity ability allow him to travel the map really fast, making him one of the fastest heroes in the game, who's able to fire constant missiles from above, dealing a great amount of area of effect damage. As well as this, he's also got great versatility with being able to easily reposition himself around the map, and his ability to dodge attacks mid-air makes him a strong flyer. His damage is not the most powerful by any means from all ranges in comparison to the likes of Storm. However, he does have very consistent damage output from both the close to medium ranges, using his armor overdrive ability, and both the repulsor blast and the uni beam, where they become a lot more effective and powerful, who is able to shred through tanks and squishy players with ease if you're accurate and know how to combine his abilities really well. Now, his team ability with the likes of the Hulk makes him one of the highest damage per second heroes in the game when he uses the Gamma buff, which is a big reason why he ranks so high in this game and in this current meta. However, as I mentioned before, it did get a slight nerf, so it has been slightly less effective. But if you have the likes of Hulk and Doctor Strange in a game, Iron Man tends to thrive a lot more. And just a little note and a tip to sort of share with this: don't be one of those Iron Man players that just sits at the top of the map, making themselves impossible to heal and also painting a target on their back, or quite literally just standing out in the open, because the likes of range players, they are going to easily pick you off and you're going to make their time a lot easier. So you want to actually hover quite low to the ground, which I know sounds odd because you think you're going to be in the firing line, but it's a lot easier to heal an Iron Man when he's at that level, and also you are protected by your frontline players, usually your tanks, so that way it works better for the team dynamic, and also you're not getting picked off as easier, so there's not a numbers disadvantage for your team. And also, Iron Man is a pretty good counter dive hero with his Unibeam and the Gamma upgrade for sniping the likes of, or preventing the likes of Spider-Man, Black Panther, Magic, you name it, from being effective. People don't realize that, but if you are accurate with his Unibeam, you can shut them down and stop them being effective, especially when you're on the ground and not isolated. So just bear that in mind. But anyways, coming in at number 1 is Storm herself, who is a duelist in this game and one of my personal favourite heroes to use in the game and also in the MCU in general, who tops this list with her permanent flight ability and her devastating area of effect capabilities. With her ability to hover and combining with her ultimate ability, which creates this massive storm or hurricane that can also be linked together with the likes of the Human Torch following the latest update to create this fiery tornado and makes her a real problem to deal with in the skies. Now, according to my own research that I've done, Storm actually has the highest win rate of around 58% across all of the heroes in the game, which obviously reflects her dominance as a duelist and both a aerial hero. Now, she doesn't have many direct counters as such either, and her mobility keeps her safe from most grounded threats, but Punisher, Hela, and Hawkeye can cause this character issues, even the likes of Black Widow as well, although it's slightly harder for her to land her consistent shots on a flying target such as Storm, but it's worth considering that these other players do counter or do cause her issues, so just consider also playing lower to the ground, because if you're up in the sky, you make yourself really easy for those characters to hit you. And just consider that if you're going to use this character in the likes of competitive, where you're trying to win yourself games. But also, to mention, the team-up ability with the likes of Captain America and Thor, when the three of them are on a team together, makes this a really fun setup, and also allows you to dominate the skies, as you have a constant brawling front line, where you're able to constantly just keep dealing damage to both backline players and other duelists. And that's why she comes in at number 1. And there you have it. That's the top 3 best flying or aerial heroes in the game. And of course, as a tradition with all of the episodes, we will give out an honourable mention to the likes of the Human Torch, who's a newly added hero in the latest season update, who has great flight potential. However, he does lack the sustained aerial control in comparison to the other heroes in this video. So I wouldn't then necessarily put him in the top 3, because the likes of Star-Lord, although he's not a permanent flyer, he is far better in my opinion. So I do think that the developers do need to give the Human Torch a little bit of a buff, because I find that his overall damage output isn't as effective, and also it's really hard for him to stay alive in my opinion in comparison to the likes of these other heroes. But let me know down below if you disagree with this list or if you have any alterations that you would make. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on these heroes. I'm not particularly an aerial player or a duelist in general, but I do really enjoy most of these characters, and for the most part, they are super effective and really dominant in this current meta. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down below if you have any cool tips also that you've learned along the way with using these heroes. I'm Visionist Gen, and I'll see you in the next one.